week is really lovely.
Yeah, you can't complain. So welcome to February. Goodness me, hard to believe. I say this every time I do monthly videos. Hard to believe we're here.
I know. January rushed past. We were really curious. We did a whole lot about setting goals and what gets in the way. And we thought for February we were going to get into some of the things that are really important that set us up well, so that we can actually pursue our goals over the long term, and maintain our resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved what we did in January. I keep talking to people about go back and watch those videos.
Yes,
so
yeah.
if you didn't tune into them, go and listen to the whole sequence. They were phenomenal. I loved it. Some new stuff that came out through all the reading we were doing in January. So as Fiona said, our theme for February is physical resilience. We're already well into that space. We started both kind of on strict eating protocols or detox on the 19th of February. So we're kind of 2.5 weeks in to some serious, I guess, discipline around food and I guess more broadly health.
Yes, yeah. Look, this is something we do every year for lots of reasons. One is to reset our bodies. Christmas, New Year, lovely time of year, lots of celebrating, and quite often a little bit too much indulgence.
Yeah.
So it's always a great time to go take stock and go, actually, what does my body need now? And for us, that means some kind of detox. Yes, it's about the food and about, no alcohol, caffeine, those sort of things, but it's actually more about the psychological part. What do we make of food? How important do we make it? We get so many stories around what we need to eat or what we need to drink, and it's quite interesting to not do that for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. In Accelerate, we're reading Rushing Women's Syndrome, which is great. It's pretty heavy on the, as you'd imagine, on the bio kind of side of it. It's a doctor that's written it. But she talks a lot about, if you've never done it, give your body a break from caffeine or alcohol or both. We do both when we detox, as well as kind of sugar and wheat and dairy and all of those sorts of things. And I was just saying to you earlier in the week, when I first did detox 10 years ago, I do it twice a year, every year, and have done for the last 10, 11 years. When I first did it, it was really hard. Like psychologically, it was just brutal. And granted, there's a lot more options these days, a lot more dairy-free options, a lot more gluten-free options. So it is easier. But I just think, what happens when we set priorities and goals is when we build habits and routines to be able to, make it easy for us, we don't even think about it anymore. And that's the kicker when we talk about, one of the key messages that came out of January was, we want to take our conscious mind out of the decision-making process. And absolutely that's what happens when, I guess we've just got systems and routines. And actually, it's just a flat no. It's not a maybe. It's not, would I like a glass of wine? We're out walking last night. We're in Melbourne doing a women in leadership program. We're out just going for a walk after the end of the day and walk past lots of yummy Italian places and wine
Beautiful
bars.
French one.
Oh my goodness. I think we just dined on the smell. But it's just a flat no. It's not maybe. It's just no, not now. Not now.
Yes, and the lovely thing about this, as Kate said, is once you build it in, it's a routine, it's a ritual. You don't really have to engage in the mind talk of like, will I, won't I? Or I could just have a little bit. Maybe I could just have a half drink. Maybe I could have a wine with a half a soda water. Like that. There's all these little kind of slippery excuses that we'll get into.
Yeah.
And it's really lovely. I'm doing the second year of a really tough protocol that's actually very restrictive. And last year I found it so challenging. Like, my poor family, every day I was like, I can't do this anymore. And this year, it's just like what I do. So, we couldn't eat last night. We just went to the supermarket. We got the food that was okay. We made our own dinner. It wasn't that difficult. And, I think this is the shift is once you've done something hard once and it felt like a lot of discipline the first time, the next time, wow, you've got the memory muscle. You've got it in your body and in your mind. This is how I do it. And it makes it so much easier. And if you just allow yourself to get to that point, you're actually setting yourself up for some really good long-term habits.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the beautiful thing is once we come off these strict protocols, it's about what are the pieces that we keep? What do we integrate into daily life? Yes, now, we love our wine. We love our food. We're definitely foodies and love our wine. But it's, what are we doing in terms of habits, moderation, rhythm, all of those sorts of things. I think the key piece here is if you've never done it, it's worth a shot. I think when I remember many years ago, I was in the first couple of days of detox, which generally are quite hard. This year it was relatively easy. I think it's because I've brought my caffeine, my daily caffeine intake down anyway. But I remember I was doing a pump class, and gosh, I had this splitting headache. I was like 10 minutes in. I was like, what is going on? You know, I used to go to this the steam room as well, but I was in this pump class, just, oh my goodness. And then it dawned on me, I'm on day 4 of detox. And I was just like, holy cow, that is the impact that caffeine has on our brain and our mind. It was just, blows my mind. And even better is, and this is why detox can get quite addictive. I do start to think, I'll never drink again when we get to kind of week 3 or 4 of detox, because the mental clarity is phenomenal. Our ability to get things done, our ability to our emotional resilience is super strong, like superwoman. And I mean, you know, superwoman is how it really feels. So I think it's firstly worthwhile doing any of these sort of eating protocols. You've got to find what works for you. And over the years, we've certainly found that. We've tried, lots of different stuff, and the eating protocol feeds on, is a good one. Certainly for weight loss is probably the main reason we've done that one. But just, the general detox, and you've got to find what works for you. You've got to find a team around you to support you.
Yeah, I think that's a really crucial one. Having a buddy or a group of you doing it together is such a great support crew, because as Kate said, that first week is not great, particularly if you maybe have been overindulging a bit, or you do really rely on your caffeine. Those day 3, 4, 5 potentially can feel really, really uncomfortable. But again, it's really fascinating. Rather than going, I hate this, what about, oh, wow, I'm really curious. Look at what my body does. Look at what happens when I take myself off things that we know are, kind of in any level not that great, and in excess really bad for us. It's just really interesting to use yourself as a bit of an experiment, to kind of keep upping the ante about what makes me feel great, what makes me perform at my best. And as Kate said, our mental clarity, our ability to, just move fast through work that we've got on. And we've had a lot on the last couple of weeks, and preparing for programs and doing things for clients. So it's, there's a lot of benefit in doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key message, particularly on this strict diet that we've learnt, was it's just food. Like in 5 minutes time, how I feel now is going to be no different to how I would feel had I had, that meal. And so I think one of the key learnings, and this is why it was really useful for us to have done that together initially, was we just kind of bounced stuff off. Ultimately I'm sitting here and I really want, the fish or the seafood or whatever it is. And on that particular protocol, you can't eat that. And it's like, well, even if I eat that in 5 minutes time, I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be really relatively feeling the same. Even if I feel great for 5 minutes because it tasted amazing, that dissipates pretty quickly. So I think some of those really starting to unpack your mindset, your mental game, is really powerful around starting to unhook. Still, we enjoy food, we love it, but I think the attachment's gone, which has been really freeing.
Yes, yeah, I love that piece. And the other piece I'd say is that, it's just this month. So whenever we're walking around in Melbourne going, oh, we'd love to eat it, this and this, and we're going, you know what, we'll be back here in a month or 2, and then we can do that. And so it's not as though you're saying no forever. Yeah. It's as though you're saying, I'm doing this for my body now, and it's really important. And I can choose to do things later on. And as Kate said, I maybe not choose to do as much of it, or I don't need to do it all the time, because that little bit of gratification you get from food is very fleeting.
Yeah. So I think, just this piece, it is unbelievable how your resilience ups. I was chatting last week with someone who was talking to me about how she'd gone off coffee for a period of time, and the difference in her anxiety levels, unbelievable. And so she'd kind of just come back onto decaf, been drinking decaf for 2 years. And so, it's not just, it does impact us physically. That impacts how we feel emotionally. That impacts our core confidence as well. So all month we're going to be talking about this. Obviously today it was all about food. We'll move on to talk about sleep, exercise, all those sorts of things. If you've got questions, please post them below. We're not the experts in this space by any means. We've just spent a lot of time figuring out what works for us, and we're going to share that with you as well. So have an amazing day. Have a great week, and we'll see you live back next week.
See you next week.